Everybody, and welcome to Slowpoke Racing and also to the Ultimate Racing League. Now, this is the start of a new season, and it's something slightly different to what we're used to bringing you. We're jumped out of the GR3s and 4s, and we've got ourselves in some road cars, and we're doing a BTCC replica championship this time around on a Wednesday. So they're all road cars. BMWs, Focus, Lexus, that sort of thing. We'll have a look at the cars as we go along. Bit of tuning involved, which some of the guys are not quite used to. So they've had a few weeks of testing to try and get these cars on track today. So hopefully they'll all come together in the next three races. We've got three races for you, all 15 minutes. Rules are that medium and soft tyres have to be used in at least one of the races. So you can do two softs, one medium, two, blah, blah, blah. You get the message. So a bit of tactics involved. Race 3, the tyre and fuel wear will be slightly higher. So, yeah, tactics could be coming in there. Just before we get started, though, I do want to say thank you to our sponsors for this season. And that is W.GG, the energy drink for gamers, and also Eldridge Air Conditioning. Really appreciate the help. Bringing you these races. And also I do want to be a big shout out to Mr. Smith and Osman as well for saving and sharing the replays. If nobody bothers to do that, then obviously we cannot bring them to you, can we? So big thank you to Agent Smith and to the real Osman for that. So what we'll do is we'll crack on and have a look down the grid. Now the race 1 is determined by 10 minutes of qualifying. Race 2 is going to be interesting. It is a completely random grid, and race 3 will be, I think, the top 5 go to the back and are set in reverse positions, but we'll have a look at them when we get there, shall we? So let's just have a look down the grid for this one. So we've got Stormfly has put himself on pole, Neil Farmack just behind him in second, Osman is third, Brian Moncani fourth, Grasshopper is fifth, Wadru 6th, T. Bennett is 7th, Willard is 8th, Brownie is 9th, Unforgiven 10th, Scooby 11th, and Agent Smith is 12th on the grid. Now we are down in Chichester for this very first race in the UK at Goodwood, which is basically a big circle with a few wobbly bits on it. 2.3 miles and 8 or 9 turns depending on which track map you look at. Now it looks a pretty simple track, but believe me, it is not. The only barriers you've got are the ones staring at you now, and that's the chicane, and when you're heading towards them at speed they look very, very big. The rest of the track is just surrounded by grass, and if you do go off, well, you ain't coming back. So let's just hope you've got a picnic in the boot and something to read, because yeah, when you go off, you've gone off for a very long time, unless the game takes pity on you and gives you a reset. But I'm sure these guys, all top drivers, are not going to have any of that shenanigans, and we're all going to stay on the grey stuff as we go around. So we'll get the camera angle changed and we'll get race 1 underway, shall we? We'll have a look at the cars, etc., as we're going along. What a fantastic shot that is. From, it's always a crane or a balloon or a blimp or something, I don't know, but it's a great shot of the field as they go through that chicane. Now unfortunately some of the guys at the back will be starting just before the chicane, but they've got through, and it is Stormfly that is leading them off in the BMW. Neil Farmack just sitting behind him. He's in the Hyundai, shall we say, the coupe. Then we've got Brian Moncani and Osman having a bit of a fight for P3 already, and Brian Moncani also in the Hyundai. I've got to say Hyundai, stupid word. Osman sitting in 4th, also in the coupe. A lot of people gone for that in League 1. The Focus seemed to be the car of choice for League 2, but it looks like the guys in League 1 are going for something a bit different. Grasshopper in 5th, he's in the BMW. Looks like he's on a breakdown call, doesn't it? Hopefully he won't be needed for that today. Then we've got Woodrow in the Merc in the familiar bright shiny purple livery that he likes to adorn on his cars. T. Bennett, I'm not sure I've seen Mr. Bennett. I may have done in amongst some of the comms I've done. I can't remember it, but Bennett in 7, and looks like he's in the Toyota, the Corolla. Then we've got Willard down in 8 in a BMW, Brownie in 9th, he's in the Civic, Unforgiven in 10th, he is in the looks like the Mercedes as well. Smith in the BMW, he's in 11th currently, and then Scooby down in 12th, also in the BMW. So that's the cars that everybody's in. Back up to the pointy end as they come around turn 4 at St Mary's Corner. Stormfly still in the lead. Neil Farmack moved up into 2nd with Brian Moncarney in 3rd, fighting off Osman as they go into turn 5 at Levant Corner. Osman just trying to get into the slipstream of Brian Moncarney as they go onto Levant Straight. Now this is where you, as I say, you can get into the slipstream, hopefully make a move before you get to turn 6 at Woodcote Corner. And yeah, you need to get the job done there before you enter into the chicane. But maybe Brian Moncarney, he's picking up a bit of slip from Neil Farmack, so it's going to be hard for Osman to catch him up. And Grasshopper in 5th, just holding off Woodrow. Well, we know Woodrow is very quick, don't we? Previous championship winner. So he's not going to be messing about. He'd love to chalk another one up in this long career he's had, and a good career as well of championship wins in the Merc. So as I say, some of these guys not quite used to these road cars. We're used to just getting in the GR3s and 4s and planting your foot down, and that's about it. But with a bit of tuning involved, it sort of leveled things out a little bit. T. Bennett in the Corolla, that proved to be a pretty quick car actually in testing. Great through the corners. Maybe not got the top speed that maybe the BMW and the Merc have got, not so sure, but certainly through the corners the Corolla is a good little car. Willard in 8th, then we've got Brownie in 9th, and just starting to spread out a little bit at the back, so there may have been a bit of an issue of drifting off onto the green stuff, but Unforgiven sitting in 10th. And we've got Scooby in 11th with Smith still down in 12th. Not quite got to grips with that BMW or the track just yet, but he's got another 2 races to go. Back up to the top, as I say, we're back in the blimp or whatever it is, and we're just watching Stormfly as he takes on turn 1 at Modwick Corner. Then it is foot firmly on the loud pedal with this run up through turn 2 at Ford Water. Starting to open up a bit of a gap now with Stormfly. Not much of one, but there is a bit of breathing space between himself and Neil Farmack. Stormfly with the fastest lap so far, 1:15.4, but Neil has just gone purple through the first sector. Up to turn 5 we go. These laps are just coming by very quick. You blink and you miss it. Neil Farmack just taking a few liberties with the turn into to 5, and that's enabled Brian Moncarney to get up alongside. In fact, Brian Moncarney has took full advantage of that mistake by Neil and moved up into P2, but Neil Farmack is not going to give it up. Let's jump on board with Neil, shall we, as we head down towards Woodcote. This tricky double apex right-hander, very easy to drift too far to the left and go onto the grass, and then it is into the chicane. You do not want to be taking too much liberties with the track limits there on the right, otherwise you end up on the grass and you will spin out. Neil Farmack then sitting in 3rd. If we look just behind us, we can see Osman there. He's not that far behind. It's 2 or 3 car lengths distance between the two of them. A great lesson there from Neil in how to take turn 1. Very tricky turn. As we're coming up towards turn 3 again, another couple of tricky turns. Just a bit of a dab on the brakes as we go into turn 3, and then you're immediately into turn 4, nicking as much curb as you can on the left before getting the power down to bring the car around without going onto the grass. Then into turn 5, again trying to keep us a tight line as you can. Osman still keeping in touch, but Neil Farmack really putting the pressure on Brian Moncarney. Brian Moncarney having to go very defensive. You can see he's taking that tighter inside line as we come down towards turn 6 again at Woodcote. Trying to break in a straight line. Looks like Brian doing a little bit of trail braking there. But you've got to be careful with these road cars, because the back end does like to come around on you if you are too hard on the brakes as you go into these turns. Let's just go down the field, shall we, and see what's happening elsewhere. Osman in 4th. In fact, let's have a look at the tyres. So Stormfly out in front, he's on the soft. Brian Moncarney also on the soft, as is Neil Farmack. So we'll just presume everybody's on the soft, shall we, until we find somebody who's not. Woodrow sitting in 5th. He's got Bennett just behind him in the Corolla. Having a good race is Bennett at the minute. Staying in touch with Woodrow. Willard in 7. Got a little bit of breathing space. Brownie has not quite got that freedom at the minute. He's got Unforgiven all over the back of him, but Brownie and Unforgiven both on soft tyres. In fact, everybody's on soft tyres. Now then, Grasshopper all the way down in 12th. I wonder what's happened to him. Let's just have a quick look. Oh, we went the wrong way, didn't we? Well, it must have happened a long way. So apologies we missed that, but poor old Grasswell, you can see the battle scars on the front of that BMW. So unless he did stop to help somebody that had broken down roadside, we don't know, and I apologise I missed it. But Grasshopper down in 12th and well, quite a way off the pace, so he's got a lot of work to do, hasn't he, if he wants to catch up to the rest of the pack. He's got to get by Smith first though. Smith sitting in 11th. We are about halfway through this first race, and yeah, Grasshopper and Agent Smith got a lot of work to do ahead of them. Stormfly though, well, he's loving it at the minute, isn't he? He's out there. Big gap back to Brian Moncarney, but Brian Moncarney's other things on his mind, and that is like trying to keep the likes of Neil Farmack and Osman behind him. But Brian doing a good job so far, actually, in the Hyundai. Again, stupid name, but he's just yeah, he's doing a good job of keeping the guys behind him. But both Neil and Osman both in the same car, so all pretty evenly matched. It does look like Osman now right onto the back of Neil Farmack. So is Osman going to be looking at making a move as they go through St Mary's? Osman still tight to the bumper of Neil Farmack. Definitely trying to have a look inside the boot of that car, isn't he, Osman? Now he needs a good exit out of turn 5. Get onto Levant Straight into the slipstream. And that's exactly what he's done. Let's jump on board with Osman as we chase Neil Farmack down Levant Straight. As I say, these cars all evenly matched, so it all comes down to a bit of slipstreaming, and Osman goes purple there. He probably is going purple, to be fair, but he's got a purple sector as we head into the chicane. And great car control from Osman, especially within the slipstream of Neil Farmack. Couldn't really see a lot of where he was going. Let's have a look, see whether he got the fastest lap. No, he didn't. Stormfly still holds on to that with a 1:15.2. But Osman really having a good old sniff around the rear end of Neil Farmack. And surely he's going to be having a look. Yes, he is. He pulls to the inside as they come up towards Ford Water at turn 2. Now where is he? They are still side by side. Let's get out of here so we can have a proper look at this little battle into turn 3, and then a million to turn 4 across the curb, and Osman gets the job done and moves up into P3, but Neil Farmack is fighting back as they go into turn 5. Osman just holding on to that inside line, but Neil Farmack coming back at him again. This is fantastic racing between these two. Now side by side as they go down Levant Straight towards turn 6, and Neil Farmack just with a bumper ahead, and he is in front as they go into the turn, but Osman having a bit of a cheeky look up the inside. I'm not so sure he's going to get it done there unless Neil makes a mistake. No, he doesn't. Neil regains P3 and holds on to it as they go into the chicane, so Osman's got to do it all again. Doesn't look like he got a better drive out of the chicane though. Neil just taking a little bit too much grass, and that's allowed Osman right onto the back of him again. Fantastic battle these two are having. I'm just going to leave them for a second while we have a look and see what else is happening. Woodrow is on his own in P5, then Bennett in 6, not that far behind. Willard in 7th, then we've got Brownie, Unforgiven in 9th, Scooby in 10th, all very spread out, with Smith in 11th and Grasshopper down in 12th. So let's just head back up and see what's happening again with Osman and Neil Farmack. Stormfly still out in front, Brian McCartney in 2nd. Brian won't mind these two having a bit of a fight, because it's going to enable him just to open that gap a little bit more as Osman has a look up the inside of Neil Farmack at turn 5, and now they are side by side. No, Osman has got himself in front this time, so it is Osman that leads Neil Farmack into turn 5, although Neil Farmack, I thought he was going to have a bit of a look into turn 6, but no, Osman has got himself in front, and with a little bit of breathing space as they head into the chicane. We're on 11.5 minutes, so three and a half minutes of this race to go, so probably about, what, another 2 laps at least. So Osman now gets himself up onto the podium. Neil Farmack is going to have to fight his way back if he wants to get on there and have a bit of a sip of champagne at the end of this race. So a little bit of work for Neil Farmack to do. Out in front though, Stormfly, well, look at the gap he's got. He's not messing about, the Flying Dutchman. Every race I see him, he just seems to open a gap. He must get bored, surely, racing around on your own. Slow down, let the others catch up, have a bit of a fight, enjoy yourself. But no, Stormfly loves it. He gets himself out in front and he's gone. There is nobody going to catch him. Brian Mulcahy having a fantastic race in P2 at the minute. Kept it nice and clean. Made the move past Neil and moved up into P2, and he's not really looked back. Neil Farmack though, he is having a proper fight with Osman. This is where all the action is, and this is where we're staying. Neil Farmack has retaken P3, so he's onto the podium. So it is Osman again. He's going to have to fight his way past Neil if he wants a bit of champagne. Well, the glass is being passed backwards and forwards, isn't it? Let's have a look at the time. We are just coming up to 13 minutes, so there'll be at least another lap after this one for these guys. So Osman still has a chance to get by Neil Farmack and get himself back up onto the podium. And well, I'm just looking at Brian there. He's pushing. He's going to have to push, isn't he? Because these guys are starting to catch up with him now. If he wants to hold on to P2, he's got this lap and one more at least to keep himself up there. Stormfly's long gone. Now let's have a look. Woodrow in 5th. Now he's got Bennett. Bennett has caught right up to the back of Woodrow, so maybe Bennett is going to be looking at putting Woodrow under a bit of pressure for the final couple of laps. We are just coming up to the 14-minute mark, so just over a minute left of the race 1. And what a fantastic opener it's been. Willard in 7th, Brownie in 8th. I'm expecting the races to get better and better as the guys get more used to these cars. There's still a bit of tweaking to be done, I'm sure. As soon as the guys get back to the garages, they'll get the mechanics on it. And a bit of tweaking with the aero. Oh, who's that? Brownie has gone off. I was going to say actually how well the guys have done at keeping the cars on the track. I think I've gone back too far, apologies for that, but we'll stay where we are anyway. So Brownie in 8th in the Civic. He's the only one on track, and as we look behind him we can just see Unforgiven chasing him down. So down into Woodcote Corner at turn 6, and I just couldn't get the car slowed down. As soon as you get on that grass, side swipe with the barrier there. And that's about the best place. If you're going to go off, that is about the best place to go off, because there is a little bit of a barrier there to catch you and stop you going off into the wilderness. But unlucky for Brownie, lost a place because of it, but could have been a lot worse. So just under 30 seconds to go as we go down the field. There are no real battles taking place. Stormfly and well, he's off and running, isn't he? As he comes down the hill towards turn 6. Let me just have a look. It's 10 seconds, so I think this is going to be the last lap for Stormfly as he goes towards the chicane. A great win for him. Never really looked under pressure, did he? So yeah, fantastic win for Stormfly in race 1 of this opening race of the season. Brian Mulcahy, brilliant result for Brian Mulcahy. He'll be pleased with that. He takes second. Neil Farmer crossed the line in third, just ahead of Osman. What a fantastic battle they had. Woodrow is going to come in fifth. Again, maybe back to the garage, have a word with the mechanics, do a little bit of tweaking for Woodrow. Bennett in 6th in the Corolla. Willard is going to cross the line in 7th. Then we've got Unforgiven in 8th. Gifted that P8 really, I think, by Brownie, who had that incident at turn 6. He finishes in 9th. Scooby crosses the line in 10th. Grasshopper made up a place and has got himself into 11th. With Mr. Smith in 12th, another one who will be back into the garage and talking to the chief mechanic about tweaking some aeros or something like that, just to get a little bit more out of that car. So that was race 1. If you've enjoyed the race, please hit the like button, and remember, if you've not already subscribed, if you could do so, I would really appreciate that. Join me again very shortly for race 2 down here at Goodwood. Catch you soon.